Good morning. Good to see everyone here. I'm sure you're all here to see me. That's what I figured anyway. No, we're here to honor our graduates, and it's exciting to get to do that. I will be up here a little. It's not about me, so I'll try to keep this short. But I do want you to know that it's been a fun 2 years that I've been working with these guys, and it's been wonderful to get to see them grow. 2 years is enough time where you get to really see some of the growth, and that's been really, really fun. Before we get going, I want to thank some people. You may have noticed when you come in, there's a lot of, there's a tent up, there's tables and balloons. There's a lunch this afternoon that hopefully you've already signed up for, because that was kind of part of the deal. But I want to thank the elders and their wives for all the time that they put into that. All of that, they put a lot of time and effort into that, and I just want to thank them very much. There is a video. We've decided to show it out there because it's 25 minutes long. Valerie Cow did a great job on it, but she loves to do things well, and so it's long. So instead of keeping you here that long, no, it's really great, actually. I saw it last night, but we're going to show it in there. So I want to thank Valerie for working on that. And while I'm mentioning Valerie, I might as well mention Hi, who's helped raise these guys. He's done an amazing job with them as a youth minister, and I'm glad he's here to be a part of this today. I want to thank the graduates' moms, because you guys were up here last night setting up the tables and all the planning that you've been doing for this. You guys have been doing all the planning, and so we appreciate that very much. And I want to thank the dads for what you're about to do, because when you get up here, we've seen it before. You're going to lose it. You're going to share. You're going to cry. And you're going to get sad. And so I'm sorry that I'm making you do that, but you know we enjoy it from the audience point of view. So I'm just letting you know that thank you for sharing your emotions with us today. For the last 2 years, David Bates, Chris Faulkner, Ruben Galvan, and Tim Tollison have taught the high school. I've been in there once or twice too, but I want to thank those men for helping to lead these seniors, these graduates. I keep calling them graduates. They're not graduates until next week. These seniors in Bible class, and that makes me think about all of their Bible class teachers, and then I started thinking, wow, I don't know, but I know that there was a bunch of you out here that taught them since they were infants. And then it made me think, you know what? It's taken a village. That I've heard that before, and you guys are the village. You guys have helped. You've had a hand in raising these young men and women, and they've turned out really nice, and you can take a lot of credit for that. God takes the ultimate credit, but you've been there, and you've loved on them, and you've helped them, and you've fed them candy and ran with them, and all the different things that you know that you've done. And so I just appreciate that, and I just wanted everyone to know that we appreciate the way that you have helped grow these young men and women. I have to, before I want to say this, graduates, seniors, and parents, I've been instructed that you need to stand close to each other. What we tend to have is dad stands here and kid stands way over here because they don't want to be anywhere close to the, so I'm telling you now, nice here close. You have to show like you love your dad, or, be here close, okay? So I got that out, Don. There you go. I have to admit something, and it's kind of embarrassing for a high school principal to have to admit this. My goal all along was to do the seniors in alphabetical order. And I'm not sure why Aubrey Day comes between Kenza Berthel and Jared Chandler, but she does. So I noticed that this morning. So because we're friends, I'm telling you, but please don't tell anybody that I know. This isn't being recorded, is it? Okay. Oh, well. Now to the actual presentation. Before I invite the dads and graduates up here, I want to, we had a conversation with the parents, and we wanted to ask someone that's been involved in their lives for a long time to come up and speak. And so we'd asked Bert Alexander, and Bert said yes, he would come. And if you've been here more than a day or two, you know Bert Alexander. And Bert said, yes, I'd love to, and he was going to come up. And then as he, new job, and he was not able to come. And so he wrote a letter, and he said, would you read the letter? And I said, sure. And then as I thought about it, I thought, well, I'm kind of like, it's like Paul writing a letter to Timothy, and Timothy getting up and reading it to the church in Ephesus. Of course, if I'd say that, then that makes Bert Paul, and I don't know if that's really, but actually, if there's anybody that might qualify, he might. So I'm going to be reading a letter today from Bert to the seniors, and then after that, we'll turn it over to the parents. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the graduating seniors of 2021 from Webb Chapel Church of Christ. This class has dealt with a world pandemic and still finished their coursework despite all the difficulties of virtual learning and periodic quarantines. They have not just finished, they have excelled. Completing the coursework for a high school diploma requires one to exert effort in various areas. The obvious is educational, but it also requires determination and discipline. Speaking as someone who went to a small country school in Arkansas, the opportunities that have been afforded to you as a graduate are much greater than what I had nearly 50 years ago. Simply attending school does not give one the full impact of education any more than putting dough in an unheated oven will produce hot biscuits. While society has responsibility for making educational opportunities available, the individual must grasp these opportunities and run with them. There must be a spark in the individual in order for the process to work. I've seen this process over and over as Cheryl taught in public education for 33 years, and both of my daughters are either serving as teacher or school counselor. They all have related stories where they saw that spark ignite in a student, causing the student to see educational opportunities that they never knew existed. I hope that graduating from high school is not the only graduation ceremony you experience. My oldest brother, Herman, was the first Alexander male to graduate from high school in 1953. He was the first Alexander to attend college, Harding, and the first to graduate in 1957. He received a Master's of Theology degree from Harding Graduate School in 1966 and a Doctorate of Ministry degree from Harding Graduate School in 1992. All these milestones were the first for our family. Because Herman was a trailblazer, all his siblings graduated from high school, 5 graduated from college, and 3 have graduate degrees. Herman literally changed the trajectory of our family's future. So, Cal Irwin, what is in store for you? I remember one fall evening several years ago when a group of males from Webb Chapel enjoyed each other's fellowship at Top Golf. While many of the men were knocking the cover off golf balls, this gangly Irwin kid of maybe 13 or 14 was literally bouncing balls off the back fence. I could not hit the fence with a rifle, yet Cal was clobbering balls off the fence on a regular basis. Also, one of my Cal memories was at one of our youth work camps that Webb Chapel held as soon as school was out. I believe that Cal had either finished the 8th grade or his freshman year at Turner. My crew was repairing a fence that was in the process of painting it. Any adult knows that paint and teens is a recipe for disaster. The best that the adult can hope for is as much paint on the fence as is on the teen. I got the impression that fence painting was a new skill for Cal. He had an inordinate amount of paint on him when he accidentally spilled paint down the front of his high-end athletic shorts. Side note, I hardly even go for a walk in my really good athletic shorts and would not even dream of painting in them. Yet as I remember it, Cal came over to me and showed me the huge paint stain down the front of his shorts and asked if it would come out. I believe my reply was something like, "Sure, Cal, when you get home, have your mom wash them immediately and it will all come out." Cal, I am sorry, that was a bold-faced lie. I imagine that those shorts went directly from your body to the trash can without journeying anywhere near the laundry. May God bless your efforts as you determine your life's goals. I know you will do well at Brookhaven. Aubrey, I can honestly say that I saw you when you were only a couple of hours old. You were a beautiful baby then, as you are a beautiful young lady now. Being a fair-skinned redhead myself, yes, I know that what did not turn gray or white turned loose. I have always thought you were a pretty little girl and now young lady. However, the beauty on the outside is overshadowed by the beauty on the inside. I see you as a godly woman who loves the Lord, her family, and her friends. I take pride in the fact that Cheryl tutored you in algebra. She has always felt that the opportunity to tutor you in math opened up a great relationship between the two of you. It became very apparent in those sessions that you were dependable and responsible. She reminded me of that day you missed your ride home and ran all the way from school to your house so you would not be late for your tutoring session. You are clearly a driven student who wants to learn and succeed, and your work ethic shines through, as was very evident in your dedication in track and field. I appreciate your dog-sitting Norman when he was a puppy. He loved being at your home and playing with you and your dog. You are a dog whisperer and a child whisperer. Every little one at Webb Chapel loves you. I appreciate the opportunity to have gone on Puerto Rico mission trip, of which you were one of the team members in the summer of 2019. While there were many lasting memories of that experience, I remember you working hard, scraping paint and plaster on an old house we were trying to paint. Puerto Rico is hot and muggy anytime, but especially in late July and early August. You worked hard and kept a good attitude, and we succeeded our goals. The University of North Texas is a fine institution. Looking back 49 years ago, I began my college education at the University of Arkansas, Little Rock. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. College is a great cafeteria line in which you can choose what appeals to you and try to avoid some of the things which do not. I do not know what the future holds for you, Aubrey, but you are a talented young lady and you have incredible parental support. Those two things are lacking for many at your stage of life, and sadly, some are never able to get over the top. With your determination, your faith in God, and your family, I see great opportunities on the horizon for you. Jara, I do not remember if I saw you the first few hours at your birth like I did with Aubrey, but I saw you very soon, nevertheless. I remember you visiting the church office with your mom and Garrett when you were so small. Carolyn Fisher wanted to spoil you rotten on those visits, trying to bribe you with candy. I was Mr. Burt to you at a young age, but I always felt like as though you were one of my kids. We have a special relationship, Jara. Sometime when your parents would want a parent night out, they would contact us and ask if we would take you to the Rangers game. We never looked at this as a chore or even an obligation. It was always an opportunity. We did this several times, and the evening generally meant picking you and Garrett up at your home, traveling to Arlington early enough to go to Chili's for dinner. Since we were not your parents or grandparents, you could order any food on the menu. That was just fine for Cheryl and me. Once we arrived at the game, we always sat in the same order. Cheryl sat with Garrett, and they both kept stats like a couple of baseball nerds, while you and I sat together, talked and laughed, and made fun of Cheryl and Garrett for being a couple of baseball nerds. We also enjoyed making fun of players' names. The one that comes to mind is Coco Crisp, who played for Oakland. I appreciate your involvement in summer learning camp and the summer work camps as well. When your health allowed, you were incredibly involved in both of those ventures. As with Aubrey, I was blessed to be with you in the Puerto Rican mission trip in 2019. Since we flew to Houston from DFW, from Houston to San Juan, and then reversed the process on the way back, I was blessed to be seated next to you for 3 of those 4 flights. You were a great travel buddy. I have watched you grow up into a fine young lady. I have been touched by your fortitude despite the seemingly never-ending medical conditions you have suffered. I could not be prouder of you and your school and the honor of linekeeper at Turner. Being involved over the years with the school district, I realize how big a deal this is, and I'm not sure that most people are aware. You will be a fighting Texas Aggie. This is a great institution, and they do not just let anyone who applies enroll. However, they are fortunate to have Garrett and you as students, and you will continue to make us proud of you. I know you will do well. Brian, although I do not know you well, Brian, I know your family, and my wife had the opportunity to teach you in Sunday school. You have been a good role model for your younger siblings, and you're getting a scholarship to play football at the college level is no easy accomplishment. Earning this scholarship shows that you are a hard worker who gives his best effort and is also a tribute to your character. You will be a blessing to the students and staff at Kentucky Christian. Kenza, I have known you since you were little, and your smile is always there for anyone you met. You have many talents and have brightened up many Webb Chapel talent shows with your gift for singing. You always have put your faith into action by participating in activities with the youth group. Your enthusiasm for Pettyjohn Springs Camp was infectious and caused many others to want to be a part of the activity. You will be a great elementary school teacher at Tarleton State, and Tarleton State is fortunate to be gaining you as a student. So to the class of 2021 from Webb Chapel, Cheryl and I wish you well. We were literally able to watch you grow up during my tenure at the church. I pray God's blessing on your family and especially on you as you pass this signpost on your road life. Remember, while graduating from high school is important, and we are so proud of you for that accomplishment. Luke 12:48 states, "To him who has been given much, much is required." You have been reared in homes that not only loved God, but provided the encouragement for you to succeed in educational endeavors. Do not take this for granted. Remember, like so many other blessings, you have received this not by your own initiative in many cases, but because others loved you and wanted what was best for you, providing an environment to help you succeed. Now take the harvest of these blessings and sacrifices of others and apply your own initiative to become successful, remembering that it is God who gives the increase. This is my prayer and blessing to you and your family. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Numbers 6:24 through 26. Signed, Bert and Cheryl Alexander. Okay. I'd like to ask, let's see, Kenza Berthel and David to come to the stage.
I told myself I wasn't going to cry. I didn't even make it through Bert's letter. Crying out loud. Kenza, look at all these people that are here. That's the most people that have been here in over a year, and they all came to see you. I get to say that because you're first. Because you're first, I get the first hug of the graduate. Kenza, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I never told you out loud, but I didn't think you were going to make it. But you did, and I'm extremely proud of you. Kenza is an extremely close friend of our family. She is a dear, dear friend of my daughter, and she has grown up in our small group. Kenza, you have touched the lives of many in this congregation. And you have given them the opportunity to be a part of your life and to provide guidance and direction. Mike said it a minute ago, it takes a village. Kenza, out there is your village. And it's people that love you ever since they've known you. And that's part of the reason Greg's up here. Is because Mike started out, he goes, and we'll have the dads. You have more than one dad. You have two that are very close to you and a whole bunch that are out there. Kenza, you've accomplished a lot. And I'm going to make fun of you for a minute, if that's all right. I was privileged to be the first one that was called when Kenza had her car wreck. She didn't call me, she called my daughter. My daughter comes to me. I couldn't tell if she was laughing or crying. But she said, Kenza's had a wreck. We got to go. And we said, where we go? And she goes, a parking lot. I said, a what? She said, a parking lot. I said, she hit a car? She goes, no. I said, what'd she hit? She said, a rock. Sure enough, I pull up. And as a dad, the first thing you do is you check the safety. Kenza, are you okay? Yes, sir. Through tears just streaming down her face. And I looked around and I'm trying to assess the situation going, how'd she hit the rock? The rock was there to protect people from going through the grass. I don't know to this day how she did it. But when you hit a rock, you're supposed to stop. Kenza powered right through that rock. Tore everything up under that car, in front of that car, and did things I didn't think were possible to a car. The rock almost did its job. I had the opportunity to go on trek with Kenza. It was Kenza's first trek. We drug each other up a 14,000-foot mountain. She is part of an elite club. She has summited a 14er. I thought she was going to kill me, and I thought I was going to kill her at some point. Fortunately, the two of us were each other's motivation to get up that mountain. And a common theme with you, Kenza, is motivation. And when you set your mind to something, you accomplish it. Kenza, you've reached this far because of difficult choices you've had to make, challenges that you have had to overcome, and being challenged by those around you. You've learned, Kenza, over the year that you can accomplish what you set your mind to. May not always be fair, may not always be easy, but you can succeed whatever you put your mind to. And the last thing before I turn it over to Greg is I can't wait for you to go to Tarleton and meet a nice young cowboy.
Okay. Are you staying for me too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kenza, she spent a lot of time at the Chandler House growing up. And it's an honor to get to be up here with her. So thank you for inviting me, David. And it has taken a village, hasn't it? She's got a lot of family. We've shared a lot of good times. We've had a tradition of coming over at Christmas to make gingerbread houses. Donnell and I have attended many of her concerts and musicals, listening to her beautiful voice. And we survived a camping trip together in Oklahoma when she joined our family on that outing. Kenza and I have a lot of common experiences from our childhood, so we understand each other some. And being a single parent is a tough job. Dawn did well, has raised a terrific young lady. But it's hard on the kids, too. And sometimes all the extra responsibilities, we all try and get our kids to do chores. But when you're the only kid with one parent, sometimes there's a lot more of those chores to go around. And sometimes it can get a little overwhelming trying to do that, and schoolwork, and choir, and sometimes schoolwork was less fun than the other things. So to David's point, I won't say you made it because of a great math tutor, but I do appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do math problems with you. But I'm glad you've had a great senior year. You've done well in school. You've worked 2 jobs, paying your own car insurance, which must be a little more expensive than after what you did to that rock. But I hope you've proven to yourself just what you're capable of. I am confident you will make a great elementary teacher. Donnell's told me about the connections you made with kids on the mission trips in Puerto Rico and D.C. Kids that either didn't speak English or had special needs, and you still connected with them. So as you continue your journey, there will be more challenges. There will be more hard times. There will be more doubters. But you've done hard, and you've come out on the other side. You are prepared to enter the next phase of life in ways that most kids your age are not. So remember that anytime you need some help or advice, you've got your mom, you've got the Days, you've got the Cows, and the Chandlers, and all these good people that have been there watching you grow up. So congratulations.
Oh, you're not done yet, Kenza. Go over there beside her. Come over here, right here. Your mom has written you a letter. And I'm going to read that. Do you know where your mom's at?
Yes.
All right. Dear my sweet Kenza Bean, it seems only yesterday that I was writing you the letter that I wrote to you when you were only 1 year old, which coincidentally, if you believe in that sort of thing, I came across that letter just the other day. It was so wonderful to be reminded of what an amazing baby, child, and now young adult you have been and have become. If I had to say it once, I have said it 2,000 times. I was told that was your favorite number as a child, that I could not have asked for a better young lady. Over the years, I have seen you face many challenges, some of which I never wanted you to have to face. But regardless of that fact, you did with strength, resolve, and grace. Something no one can ever say about you is that you do not lack determination. If you set your mind to something, you can bet it's going to happen. Even if you have to chase me around the apartment to do it. And while sometimes that drove me nuts, it was also the reason why I don't worry about you and what your future holds. I know that you will not let anything or anyone stand in your way. Please always remember and never forget how much I love you, and I'll always be there for you. Love, Mom. Kenzie, with that,
God wrote you a letter too.
Okay.
It's a little longer, but he loves you very much. So, so stay in that one and be reminded of his love for you too. Okay? David Day. He's next, right?
Alphabetically next is,
Good,
I'm not taking my mask.
take your mask off. Told her to take her mask off. I noticed Ken's reading my notes. I'm putting a little blocker up here so she can't read my notes. Got to come a little closer. There we go. I've told a few people, I've even told a couple people this morning that I had a bad habit of judging adults that said they were ready for their kids to go off to college. I said, how can you be ready for your kid to go off to college? And then I told that individual, I'm ready for mine to go to college. As I stand here, reality has hit me, and I'm not as ready as I think I am. It's going to be hard. Aubrey, your life has been a life of surprises. Your mom set me down at the dinner table, and she asked me a question. She says, do you have enough love for one more? And I said, absolutely. That was the first surprise, because we weren't expecting you. There was no reveal party. We didn't blow anything up. We did not know what Aubrey's gender would be until the doctor raised her up in the room and said, congratulations and good luck. It's a girl. I now understand the good luck part. Ever since then, Aubrey, you have been full of wonderful surprises. You have your grandmother's maiden name as your middle name, Aubrey Page Day. Only time she hears it is when she's in trouble. Aubrey Page Day. Aubrey was raised by Webb Chapel. She's a product of ladies here at Webb Chapel. Vanessa Lewis Deshotel, Lauren Fellers, Valerie Cow, all wonderful, godly women that I blame personally for my daughter wanting a tattoo. In later years, David Bates, Chris Faulkner, godly men that guided, directed, families, Chandlers, Bates, Bells, all that cows that provided guidance. Hi, thank you for being here. It means a lot to see my daughter smiling sitting beside y'all. Aubrey provided some challenging parenting moments growing up, so we turned to TV to learn how to handle it. She would not stay in her bed, and so we turned to a show called The Super Nanny. The Super Nanny told us, put her back in bed every time. She gets up, put her back. She gets up, put her back. And so I'm sitting in the hallway. She gets out of bed. She opens the door. I pick her up. I put her back in bed. An hour later, she gets up. I pick her up. I put her back in bed. She walks out the door a half a dozen times. Finally, she gets up. I hear her playing with her toys. I'm waiting for the door to open. I'm in the hallway. The door doesn't open. I claimed that a victory, and I went to bed. I let her stay up and play. Aubrey spent a lot of her youth in Pond Creek, Oklahoma with her aunt. We got to go one time without Lisa. And when a young daughter and a father get to go to a small town without the mom, you don't know what's going to happen. My sister turned to me and looked, and she said, "You see what your daughter's doing?" I said, "No." She had found the swings in the park, and unbeknownst to me, the swings had a fairly decent-sized mud puddle beneath them. She leaned herself back, and every turn, her long blonde hair would just swish right through the mud. And they would do that over and over again. And as I went to scold her, my sister stopped me, and she said, "No, it'll wash out. Let her play." Aubrey's sporting career started at 4. Team sports. Team sports started at 4 and ended at 4. Took a 9-year hiatus and started back again at 13. When she was 4 years old, she was the only alternate on a soccer team, and she refused to go in. I was not at the game, but as Lisa explained it to me, it was about 110. Nobody had come in. They finally convinced Aubrey, with the help of the referee, and if Lisa would be allowed to stand at the back of the net, which is illegal in soccer, to coach Aubrey and to be the goalie. She had one job: stop that rolling ball. Here comes the rolling ball, and my wife says it was slow motion, that all Aubrey had to do was stop and pick up the ball, and it was going to build her self-confidence, build her self-esteem, and we'd be talking about the soccer scholarship she was going to college on. She crossed her arms, she watched the ball go by, she looked at Mom, and she walked off, and she never stepped foot on the soccer field again. We had to make an important parenting decision: make her play or let her quit. We let her quit. It was much easier that day. Aubrey took up gymnastics later. She took up karate. She took up golf. We thought we were going to lose her in the brotherhood when the gym that she was in for 10 years sold to Carrollton Church of Christ. She was crushed. Aubrey's love for track, as Bert mentioned earlier, took her through her junior year. Have a homecoming dress story that I'm not going to tell because I took her shopping. You can only imagine how that went. I was also part of her first car wreck. She didn't tell me till the next day. Aubrey, you have a heart of gold. You're caring, you're compassionate, you're patient, whether you believe it or not. You taught my 80-year-old grandmother, your 80-year-old grandmother, how to use an iPhone over a 5-hour trip. Aubrey, you have recognized the need for others. You have asked for people to be fed. You have asked for people to be clothed. You have asked for people to be sheltered. You help when a friend calls you. Aubrey, that is Christ-like. Don't ever stop being a servant, and don't ever stop being Christ-like. You have debated with me about things and changed my way of thinking about things and topics that a parent doesn't like to admit. This is the beginning of a transition. We have been your mom and I have been your parents for 18 years. We will always be mom and dad, but we get to start being your friend. Proverbs 3:35, the wise inherit honor, fools inherit shame. Aubrey, spend time in this word. Let it be a guide. Don't let it collect dust. Your mom and I love you and wish you the best.
Well done, David. Thank you for making me look really bad in advance. We do remember that soccer game.
We do remember.
Yeah. Jera was one of those that didn't get to sub out. So for those of you that say, you know, that girl that's always in the cast or something, this is Jera Chandler. But seriously, she has grown up here. Her whole life has been here. You know what she's been through, and you, like her family taking up that entire pew back there, have supported, encouraged her through all of it. So thank you. It's hard to know what to talk about at these events when everybody knows your kid. You've got her bio, so you know about her activities, all the stuff that she's been involved in, and you also know that she has slightly above average IQ. Just slightly. There are a few things in her bio that some of you know about, or that's not in her bio, that some of you know about and others may not. She's a very private person, so she's probably dreading what I'm going to talk about right now. I'll try and I don't think it's anything embarrassing. One, she loves doing puzzles. She's like Jimmy Johns. That's be freaky fast. So fast that it's probably been about a year or so ago, Sue Camp was so kind to invite Jerry into her puzzle exchange. She has done almost every puzzle Sue owns, and that's a lot of puzzles. But she also did all her puzzles that her papa owns, and that's an awful lot of puzzles too. It used to be a family affair. Now we get yelled at if we even look at a piece, much less touch one. I don't understand. I don't know what that's all about, but she also loves playing games, if she can get anyone to play with her. She's very good. She's very lucky. So good and lucky, we're pretty sure she cheats, but she's good at that too, and we haven't figured out how she's doing it. She's very much into her music. She loves a lot of Christian music, but her go-to is country. I don't really know about her taste in music. I think her favorite is still George Strait. Ugh. But her love of music spilled over into our TV watching, where we've become fans of The Voice. We always watch them last 3 seasons or 4 or something. So we pick our favorites. Speaking of TV, she has a couple of other genres that she can't seem to get her fill of: baking competitions and cop shows. Her favorites are NCIS and Blue Bloods. Oh, and there is that one other ridiculous show. What's it? The Office? For anybody that understands The Office, she's your girl. Me and Mom, we don't get it. Gerald loves to camp and hike. For years, most of that pew back there went camping together every spring break until Garrett started high school. High school baseball season does not take spring break, so that tradition came to a screeching halt. So she was looking forward to going camping last spring break, and we were making plans. And the park's closed for some pandemic thing going on. She got so desperate that we set up the tent in the backyard where she slept that night to get a little bit of a fix. So finally this spring we got to go camping again. So we had a good time doing that and hiking there. Bert talked about their special relationship. She and Bert had a lot of fun together. She likes to have fun. She likes to laugh. If you know her sense of humor can be a little bit dry and also laced with just a little bit of sarcasm. Maybe a lot of sarcasm. And her teachers figured out very quickly that she understands our sarcasm because she would laugh at the jokes that nobody else in class was laughing at. Cutting little things that she was, she's the only one that got it. So she's got a good relationship with a lot of her teachers because she understands their jokes and what's going on. We're going to have a little more fun at Jera's expense, though. She's had a lifetime of having fun at her mom's expense, so we're going to get even a little bit. First of all, if there's still anybody here that had her in the nursery, we are still very sorry. It is hard to imagine such a cute little baby being able to spit up that much. So again, very sorry. Jera wants to be a surgeon. There's a lot of people that can't be surgeons. Some just aren't smart enough. Some would never dream of it because they can't stand the sight of blood. No problem there. When Jera was, 2 or 3 years old, Garrett came across a dead bunny in the backyard. He's getting upset, very emotional about this dead bunny, but not Jera. She comes bounding over. Is there blood? Can I see? She's still into gross stuff that nobody else wants to watch. She likes sports, but she doesn't watch sports for the competition so much as for the injuries. It's like those of us that watch NASCAR for the wrecks or hockey for the fights. She watches, especially football, but basketball too, for the injuries, especially really bad ones. You know, the ones that nobody wants to see, like Dak's broken leg. She finds the video on the internet, watches it over and over, slows it down, if she can zoom in, Case in point, a couple of years ago, Donnell and I were out for a dinner, and the Cowboys were in the playoffs. And you probably remember, if you're a Cowboys fan, the night that Alan Hearns dislocated his ankle and broke his leg. As soon as the broadcast crew realized just what a disgusting thing they had on film, they quit showing it to anybody. So Donnell and I didn't really get to see what had happened. Not to worry, though. On the way home, we get a text from Jera. Watch this. She had gotten the video and texted it to her mom, knowing that it would gross us out. Kind of hard to believe that such a sweet-looking little girl is into such pain and misery. So one of the things that she does for her own personal entertainment is keep a list of funny things her mom says. I'll admit most of us have no idea what any of it means. But there's a list of things that Jera's kept there's also a list of things that people have kept that Jera has said that makes them laugh. Some of those are funny or cute, but I think at the top of the list is one about aquatic fish. Think about it for a second. Aquatic fish. What other kind of fish is there? So we've had a few laughs over aquatic fish. She also learned that some of those things that her mom says are things that people actually say. She recently had a visit with her grandparents where she was introduced to some famous idioms that she had never heard of. You know them. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Straight from the horse's mouth, or throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Jera didn't realize people said that. Has no idea what they mean. But I think you did have a favorite out of the list. What was?
Tighter than Dick's hat band.
I don't even know what that one means. I'd never heard of it. But Tighter Than Dick's Hat Band was the one that stuck with her. But seriously, in her bio it mentions, and Bert mentioned, that she was honored with, sorry, here comes that moment, David. I'll collect myself and say, I told David I thought we ought to switch kids around and talk about each other's kids. It would make this part so much easier. She was honored with the R.L. Turner Lion Keeper Award in recognition of her success in face of adversity. While she appreciated the recognition, she didn't want it to be about her. She is quick to give the credit to family, friends, church, teachers, doctors, physical therapists, but most of all, God for getting her through it all. Many people that have been through less have doubted God and walked away, but it's made you more reliant. My prayer for you as you pursue your dreams is that you continue to depend on God, and He continues to give you the ability to overcome with the positive, can-do attitude that's gotten you this far. You know this thing well, but stay in it. It's terrible.
stand over here. I'll stand in the shadow of Mount Cal. All right, well, not only am I approaching 50 and have a son who's about to graduate high school, I can't read without these, so. Before I get started, I just want to thank everybody for being here. I can't see everybody when I have them on, though. I want to thank my sister and her family for making the trip from South Oklahoma to visit, and I want to thank Perry and Sue for making their first visit back in person. It's for some of us, getting back out in public is a real challenge. I don't know if you've remember the Bill Murray movie, What About Bob? Baby steps. Baby steps. All right. Oh, and also, I know my parents and my other sister would have loved to have been here. They can't be here. They're going to be here next week for his high school graduation. All right, Cal, we made it. Can you believe it?
Nope.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people thought that I wouldn't make it either.
Yeah. Okay. This is my speech. So you made it. We've made it this far. As a parent, we have a few basic goals for the first 18 years of our kids' lives. These are basic. One, we want to keep them alive without wrapping them in bubble wrap or locking them in their room for all that time. And an extension of that goal is to not kill them ourselves. We want to educate them. Graduating high school is a big milestone along that path. And for those of us who are Christians, we want to teach them to love God. So how did we do? Well, as you can see, he's still upright and breathing with all his body parts intact. If I wanted to kill him now, I wouldn't have a chance. They tell me, Mike can confirm this, that he's going to graduate from high school on Saturday, so check number 2. And just over a year ago, as was mentioned earlier, Cal committed his life to Christ when he decided to be baptized in our backyard. We've been successful in making those first 3, Cal. And today, we're here to honor you getting this far. Yesterday, as I was driving around, running some errands, thinking about what I wanted to say, I was listening to my Spotify playlist, and the Talking Heads song "Once in a Lifetime" came on. I don't know if any of my Gen X friends can remember that song, but I'll remind you that at the beginning of the song, the lead singer speaks over some music, and he says, "And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack, and you may find yourself in another part of the world, and you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile, and you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife, and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?" That's the question I've been asking myself here recently. How is it possible that we managed to get here? How did we not totally screw this thing up? I had to ask Jody yesterday, because I can't remember these sort of things. When did we come to Webb Chapel? I was in my training and sleep deprived. It's all a bit of a blur. But she tells me in terms of Cal, he was in the first grade when we came to Webb Chapel. So many of you have known Cal for most of his life and have watched him grow up. And you're probably thinking at this point in time as well, how did he get here? As everyone who's a parent knows, parenting is not easy. I'm a golfer, not a good golfer, what you call a high handicap golfer. But parenting can be a lot like the game of golf. Golf is a game of opposites. If you want the ball to go far, you got to swing easy. If you want the ball to go up, you got to hit down on the ball. If you want the ball to go to the right, you got to swing to the left. If you want it to go to the left, you got to swing to the right. And like I said, raising kids can be a lot like playing golf. Sometimes what you do produces a response opposite to that which you intend. And with Cal, this was frequently the case. I'm going to tell a story about Cal. We're going to call this the Naughty Matt story. Jody was not actually present for this, so she can't accept any of the blame. I think I got in trouble for this. Meredith was present. She just lived down the street and happened to be over at the house one day. I think Cal was probably 2 or 3. He was, old enough to walk, old enough to talk, and he was very defiant. And he did something. I don't know what it was. And I don't know. Do people still use the naughty mat? You know, this was sort of post corporal punishment time. It was a timeout, basically. We had a mat in the floor, and if a child did something, disobeyed, you made them sit on the mat and think about it for 2 minutes. Well, that seems simple, seems straightforward. That was not the case with Cal. Whatever he did, I can't remember. I'm sure it was no big deal, but I told him he was going to sit on the naughty mat for 2 minutes. Picked him up. He was small enough then I could pick him up, put him on the naughty mat, and he promptly moved off the naughty mat. I insisted, you're going to sit on the naughty mat. Put him on the naughty mat. He'd put his legs off the naughty mat. I insisted he was going to put his entire body on the naughty mat. Put him back on the naughty mat. And he sat there, and he looked right at me, and he took his finger, and he touched the floor. So what should have been a 2-minute exercise in discipline turned into an exhausting afternoon. And so right now you're probably asking yourself how we actually achieved goal number 1, not killing your own child. We came close. I came close. As that story indicates, Cal's his own person, and he does things his own way, no matter what. Following standard operating procedures with Cal was like putting gasoline in a diesel engine. It just wasn't going to work. And for some, that's very irritating. For some, it's Cal's most endearing quality. Right, Lisa Stone? This isn't a bad thing. It's just how God made Cal. It just meant that Jody and I spent many years wandering in the parenting wilderness trying to figure out how to raise Cal. And I know, I hear an English teacher saying, you raise chickens, you rear kids, but saying rearing makes my head hurt. So, for the first 12 years of Cal's life, we tried to mold Cal into something he was not. And it resulted in a lot of frustration and a lot of unnecessary friction. Ultimately, we realized that we had to let go of the reins a little bit, trust God, and let Cal be Cal and do things his own way. And I'm not so sure this was so much of an active decision or we just wore out. I'm not really sure. I think it was a combination of both. In elementary school, Cal loved to play video games. But what he really loved to do was watch other people play video games on YouTube. When he got to, and so throughout elementary school, we sent Cal to a number of different private schools, trying to mold him into what we wanted him to be, which was what Cal was not going to be. And in junior high, he ended up going to public school for the first time, Vivian Field, down the street. And junior high was challenging. Junior high was, there was some struggles in junior high. Cal struggled socially at school. He didn't have a whole lot of friends at school. He had to deal with some bullying. But Cal is a social person. I'm not. I'm an introvert. I remember when Cal was 3-4 years old, and we'd be out in the front yard playing, and somebody would walk down the street. Somebody walks down the street, I'm just going to put my head down. I'm not going to engage. Cal would be at the street, hey, how's it going? Trying to engage, which was the last thing I wanted, was to have to engage with somebody a stranger I didn't know. So Cal's a social person. So he wasn't antisocial during junior high. He wasn't a loner during junior high, but he created his own social network. He made his own YouTube channel. He created and produced original videos that other kids watched him playing video games. He developed friendships with other gamers from all over North America. I'd walk into his room and I'd be like, hey, I'd hear him talking. Who are you playing with? Oh, so-and-so. Where do they live? Nova Scotia or Washington, or California. Cal created his own social network. How many subs did you have on your YouTube channel at its height?
Well, right now it's like 718.
Well, what was that the highest?
Well, at the time it was like 650.
Okay.
No,
So
580.
still going strong. All right. High school was better in that sense. In high school, he got to join the baseball team. He developed a social network at school for the first time. He became more involved in the youth group here at Webb Chapel. He spent some time with the youth group at the branch down the street. And it wasn't always easy. He struggled at times, but he's grown and he's matured. And now that he is about to graduate from high school and is preparing to start college, Cal is thriving socially. He's got an active social life, and we can hardly keep up. If you asked me 18 years ago, I never would have predicted the path he took to get to this point. Being a parent is an ongoing exercise in humility. Cal, your mother and I couldn't be more proud of the young adult you have become. I thought I left everything out that might make me cry. And we look forward to seeing where life takes you, or maybe more appropriately, where you take life. So back to the question, how do we get here? Like an infamous person once said, and it turns out it's a very cliche thing to say when talking about graduation, it takes a village. It does take a village. This is not the story of how Jody and I did everything right as parents, because we certainly did not. This is not the story of how Webb Chapel was the perfect church to grow up in. It was not. This is not the story of how Cal was the perfect kid, because he was not. But like many good stories, this is a love story. Cal has made it this far because Jody and I, above all things, love Cal. He made it this far because Izzy and his grandparents and his aunts and his uncles and his cousins love him. Cal is here today because Webb Chapel loves him. And above all, you are here, Cal, because of God's unconditional love and his life-giving grace. The same formula that got you this far in life will serve you well throughout the rest of your life. Number one, love God, love other people, and trust in his grace. And number two, keep doing it your way, Cal. We love you.
I just want to say this is not fair. But 2 weeks ago, I got a call from my wife saying that they want parents to say something. And I said, why don't you say it? Now I see why they pick those parents or fathers to, to come and say something for our kids. And this morning, since they told me, I was planning to write something down, and I always forget things. And they asked me yesterday, they said when we came to the decorations, and they said, are you ready? And I said, yeah, I'm ready. I had all the things to say, and all the memories, everything. And now that Mike said in the morning, he said, I want to see the parents cry. I was like, I'm not ready. But I want to say thank you to the Church of Webb Chapel. We've been here for, I think, 8 to 10 years. And thank you, Mike, thank you, Hi, and everybody that's been on Brian's life. Well, I just want to say we're so proud of Brian for his accomplish. It's been a long run for the family, for Brian. I think the part that hurts the most is that he's going far. He's going to KCU in Kentucky. I want to say to Brian that in this Bible he's gonna find all the answers. He's gonna find anything he needs when he's over there. And thank you to the church again. Yes, he is.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Always a highlight of the year. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for these graduates, and we again ask your blessings upon them as they go out into the world. We thank you for the food that has been prepared for us to eat this afternoon. We thank you for your grace and your mercy, and above all, your Son. Forgive us when we fail you. In Jesus' name, amen.